The Galactic Council chamber was vast and silent. Representatives from 100 different species sat in floating seats arranged in a great circle. In the center stood Varus. He had never addressed the full council before. His hands were shaking slightly, but he kept his voice steady. "Honorable council members," he began. "I was sent to evaluate a planet called Earth. My original report classified it as uninhabitable. Every safety test showed failure. The atmosphere, the geology, the weather, the biology. All dangerous. All hostile to life." The council members murmured among themselves. They had read the report. They knew what it said. "However," Varus continued, "I have spent time on Earth. I have met the humans who live there. And I must now revise my assessment." He pressed a button on his device. Images appeared in the air above the council. Images of Earth, blue oceans, green forests, white mountains, cities glowing with light. This is Earth, a planet where everything tries to kill its inhabitants. And yet those inhabitants have built this. He showed them human cities, human art, human technology. They have created beauty from chaos. They have built civilization on unstable ground. The council watched in silence. But the most remarkable thing about humans is not what they have built. It is how they think. He showed them recordings from his visit. Humans surfing in dangerous oceans. Humans climbing frozen mountains. Humans eating spicy food and laughing. Humans running toward disasters to help strangers. These creatures know their planet is dangerous. They know their lives are short. They know that death is always close. And they do not care. They choose to live fully anyway. A council member from the third row spoke up. His species was known for extreme caution. They lived underground to avoid all risks. This sounds like insanity. These creatures are defective. They do not understand danger. "No," Varus said firmly. "They understand danger better than any of us. They simply refuse to let it stop them." He showed more images. Human children playing. Human families eating together. Human communities gathering after disasters to rebuild. Humans have something we do not have. They call it many things. Courage, hope, love, but the core is the same. They believe that life is worth living, even when it is difficult. Especially when it is difficult. Another council member spoke. This one was from a species that lived for thousands of years. Their lives are so short. How can they accomplish anything meaningful? Because they know their time is limited, Varus said. They do not waste a single moment. They build and create and love with an intensity we cannot imagine. Their short lives are more full than our long ones. The chamber was quiet. The council members were listening. "I made a mistake in my original report," Varus admitted. "I judged Earth by our standards. Safe atmosphere, stable ground, predictable weather. By those standards, Earth fails. But humans do not live by our standards. They live by their own." He turned off the images. The chamber fell into shadow. Humans have a saying, "What does not kill me makes me stronger." I used to think this was foolish. Now I understand. Every challenge they face, every danger they survive, makes them better. They grow through adversity. They evolve through struggle. He paused and looked around the chamber. If we declare Earth forbidden, we will lose something precious. We will lose the chance to learn from these remarkable creatures. We will lose potential allies. We will lose friends. The head of the council, an ancient being named Pros, leaned forward. "What do you recommend, Inspector?" Varus took a deep breath. "I recommend we change Earth's classification. It should not be labeled uninhabitable or forbidden. It should be labeled protected. And more importantly, it should be labeled do not provoke." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. "Explain," Pros said. Humans have survived everything their planet has thrown at them. Ice ages, plagues, asteroid impacts. They have survived their own wars and their own mistakes. They are survivors. More than that, they are fighters. He let his words sink in. Any species that tries to conquer Earth will fail. Humans will fight back. They will never surrender. They will never give up. And they will win, because they have been fighting for survival their entire existence. War is just another danger to overcome, another challenge to face together. The council was silent. Humans are not a threat to us, Boris continued. They want friendship, not conquest. They want to explore the stars and learn and grow. But if anyone threatens them, if anyone tries to harm their planet or their people, they will respond with everything they have. He showed one final image. A photograph of Yuna, Taiho, and Hana standing together, smiling at the camera. Behind them was the Earth, blue and beautiful and deadly. These are my friends now. They welcomed me to their world. They shared their food, their knowledge, their wisdom. They asked for nothing in return except understanding. They looked at the council with steady eyes. I say we give them that understanding. I say we accept Earth into our community. I say we learn from humans instead of fearing them. Because someday, we may need their strength. We may need their courage. We may need their laughter in the face of darkness. Prost nodded slowly. The council will consider your recommendation. Please wait outside. Boris bowed and left the chamber. He walked to a viewing window and looked out at the stars. Somewhere in that vast darkness was a small blue planet. A planet that should not have life. A planet where everything was dangerous. A planet full of humans who laughed at danger and chose joy over fear. Hours passed. Finally, the doors opened and Boris was called back inside. Prost spoke for the council. We have made our decision. Earth's classification has been changed. It is now listed as Protected World with an additional note. Do not provoke. Inhabitants are extremely resilient and unpredictable. Boris felt relief wash over him. Thank you. There is one more thing, Prost said. The council has decided to send an ambassador to Earth. Someone who understands humans. Someone they trust. Boris understood. You want me to go back, if you are willing. Boris thought about Yuna's smile, Taiho's courage, Hannah's wisdom. He thought about the taste of spicy food and the sound of human laughter. He thought about standing on a beach, watching the waves of a toxic ocean roll in. I am willing, he said. 3 days later, Boris landed on Earth again. Yuna was waiting for him, just like before. She was smiling, just like before. Welcome back, she said. I heard the news. Protected world. That is very nice. I also heard about the other note, Boris said. Do not provoke. Yuna laughed. Yes, well, we have a reputation to maintain. They walked together toward the city. The sun was setting, painting the sky in orange and pink. Beautiful and dangerous like everything on this planet. There is a party tonight, Yuna said, to celebrate your return. Taiho is cooking. Hannah will be there. Some other friends too. A party? Yes, humans like to celebrate. Any reason is good enough. Surviving another day. Making a new friend. Watching a sunset. She looked at him with those bright eyes. Welcome to Earth, Ambassador. I hope you like parties. Boris looked at the sunset. He thought about everything he had learned. Fear and courage. Danger and joy. Short lives lived fully. Long odds overcome together. He thought about a species that failed every safety test but refused to die. A species that looked at the universe's dangers and laughed. He was proud to know them. He was proud to call them friends. I think I will learn to like parties, he said. And somewhere in the distance, Human music began to play, and human voices rose in laughter. And the strange, wonderful, impossible creatures of Earth celebrated another beautiful, dangerous day. Varus smiled. A real smile. His first one ever. It felt good. Varus returned to the Welcome Center that evening. His mind was full of questions. He had seen so much during the tour, but he still did not understand the most important thing. How did humans think? What was happening inside their brains that made them act this way? Yuna met him in the lobby. She could see the confusion on his face. "You look troubled," she said. "I am," Varus admitted. "I have learned many facts about your species, but I do not understand the reason behind any of it. Why do you choose danger? Why do you laugh at death? I need to understand the psychology." Yuna nodded. "I know someone who can help. Her name is Hana. She is a scientist who studies the human mind. Would you like to meet her?" Varus said yes immediately. They drove through the city to a large building. Inside were laboratories and research rooms. Hana was waiting for them in a comfortable office. She was a small woman with gray hair and kind eyes. She wore simple glasses and a white coat. "Welcome," she said. "Yuna told me you have questions about human psychology. Please, sit down. Ask me anything." Varus sat across from her. He took a moment to organize his thoughts. "On your planet," he began, "everything is dangerous. Your atmosphere is toxic. Your geology is unstable. Your weather is violent. Your animals are deadly. Your own biology is fragile. Yet humans do not seem afraid. Why?" Hana smiled gently. "We are afraid," she said. "All the time. Fear is one of our most powerful emotions. It has kept us alive for millions of years. Then why do you not act afraid? Why do you swim in toxic oceans and climb frozen mountains and eat chemical weapons?" Hana leaned back in her chair. "Let me tell you a story. Long ago, our ancestors lived in a world that wanted to kill them. Every day was a fight for survival. They could have hidden in caves and never come out. Some species did exactly that. They hid and stayed safe and eventually went extinct. How does hiding lead to extinction? Because the world changes, always. The safe place today becomes the dangerous place tomorrow. If you only know how to hide, you cannot adapt. Our ancestors learned something different. They learned to face their fear instead of running from it." Varus listened carefully. This was the answer he needed. "When our ancestors faced a predator," Hana continued, "they had two choices: run and hide, or stand together and fight. The ones who fought often died. But sometimes they won. And when they won, they became stronger. They learned. They adapted. Over millions of years, this became part of who we are. You evolved to face danger. More than that, we evolved to find joy in facing danger. Our brains release special chemicals when we overcome fear. Dopamine, adrenaline, endorphins. These chemicals make us feel alive. They make us feel powerful. They make us happy." Varus thought about the humans he had seen surfing in the ocean, skiing down mountains, eating spicy food. They were not ignoring danger. They were enjoying it. "So fear is not your enemy," he said slowly. "Fear is your friend." Hana nodded. "Fear tells us what matters. It tells us where the edge is. And we are a species that likes to stand on the edge and look over. Why? That seems illogical. Because the view is beautiful from the edge. Because standing there makes us feel alive. Because pushing past our fear is how we grow." Varus considered this. His own species avoided danger at all costs. They lived long lives in safe environments. But they never grew. They never changed. They had been the same for thousands of generations. Humans changed constantly. They invented new things. They explored new places. They pushed the boundaries of what was possible. All because they were willing to be afraid. There is something else, Hannah said. Something even more important than our relationship with fear. What is it? Our relationship with each other. She stood up and walked to a window. Outside, the city was alive with lights and movement. Millions of humans living their dangerous lives together. Humans are social creatures, she said. We do not face danger alone. We face it together. When one of us is afraid, the others offer support. When one of us falls, the others help them stand. This is our greatest strength. Boris remembered seeing the children playing. When one fell down, another helped them up. It seemed like a small thing at the time. Now he understood it was everything. We call it community, Hannah said. Or family. Or friendship. The words are different, but the meaning is the same. We survive because we take care of each other. But why? Why help others when helping yourself is more efficient? Hannah turned to face him. Her eyes were serious now. Because a human alone is weak. A human with others is unstoppable. We learned long ago that survival is not a competition between individuals. It is a cooperation between all of us. She sat back down. Let me tell you another thing. Humans have a special response to extreme danger. When we face something truly terrible, something that threatens our entire group, we do not fall apart. We come together. We call it crisis response. What do you mean? When disasters happen, when cities flood or buildings collapse, humans run toward the danger, not away from it. Ordinary people become heroes. Strangers help strangers. Enemies become allies. We have seen it happen throughout our history. The worse things get, the better we become. Boris found this hard to believe. In his experience, danger caused panic and isolation. Individuals protected themselves first. How is this possible? Because we know something that fear tries to make us forget. We know that we are all connected. Your pain is my pain. Your survival is my survival. When I help you, I help myself. When you succeed, we all succeed. She paused, letting her words sink in. This is the secret of humanity, Inspector. It is not that we ignore danger or that we are too stupid to be afraid. It is that we face danger together. And together, we are stronger than any danger could ever be. Boris sat in silence. He was beginning to understand. Humans were not foolish. They were not crazy. They were something much more impressive. They were brave. And they were united. And that combination made them unstoppable. One more thing, Hannah said. You asked why we laugh at death. Let me answer that. She poured 2 cups of tea and handed one to Boris. He held it, but did not drink. Death is the only certainty in human life, she said. We all die. Every single one of us. There is no escape. For most species, this would be terrifying. And it is terrifying for us too. But we found a way to cope. Laughter. Yes, laughter is our rebellion against death. When we laugh at something scary, we take away its power. We say, I see you, death. I know you are coming, but you do not control me. I choose joy. I choose life. I choose to smile in your face. She sipped her tea. It sounds simple, but it is the most powerful weapon we have. Laughter keeps us sane. It keeps us hopeful. It reminds us that even in darkness, there is light. Boris finally understood. Humans lived on a planet that should have killed them. They survived by turning fear into courage, isolation into community, and despair into laughter. They did not pass the safety tests because they did not need to. They had something better than safety. They had each other. Thank you, Boris said. I think I finally understand. Hannah smiled. Do you? Then let me ask you a question. When you return to your people and tell them about Earth, what will you say? Varus thought carefully. I will tell them that we were wrong. Earth is not a death planet. It is a life planet. And the creatures living there are not weak. They are the strongest beings I have ever encountered. Hannah raised her cup. To strength in the face of danger. Varus raised his cup too. To strength in the face of danger. He drank the tea. It was warm and comforting. And for the first time since arriving on Earth, he felt no fear at all. The next morning, a human male arrived at the welcome center. He was tall with short black hair and a wide smile. He wore a uniform with colorful patches on it. Good morning, he said. My name is Taiho. I am a captain in our exploration division. Yuna asked me to show you around our planet. Are you ready for a tour? Varus was not ready. He had not slept well. Every time he closed his eyes, he thought about all the dangers outside. But he needed to see more. He needed to understand. We are ready, he said. Ho led them outside to a large vehicle. It had wings and engines. A flying machine. This is an airplane, Taiho said. It will take us around the world. We have many stops to make. Varus looked at the machine. It seemed very fragile. Thin metal and glass. Is it safe? He asked. Ho laughed. Safer than driving a car. Probably. Get in. They climbed into the airplane. Varus sat by a window. His suit continued to beep warnings. He tried to ignore them. The airplane lifted off the ground and rose into the sky. The ground fell away beneath them. Soon they were flying through the clouds. White fluffy clouds that looked soft and harmless. Varus knew they were not harmless. They contained lightning and ice and violent winds. Our first stop is the ocean, Taiho said. Have you seen our oceans yet? Varus had seen them from space. Blue and vast and full of poison. I have seen images, he said. Images are nothing. You need to see it in person. The airplane flew for several hours. Varus watched the land below change. Cities gave way to forests. Forests gave way to mountains. Mountains gave way to flat plains. And then, finally, the ocean appeared. It stretched to the horizon in every direction. Blue and green and endless. The airplane descended and landed on a small strip of land near the water. They stepped outside. The air smelled different here. Salty and fresh. The sound of waves filled Varus's ears. He had never heard anything like it. Taiho led them to the edge of the water. Small waves washed over the sand. Varus stayed back. His suit beeped warnings about the water's chemical composition. This water is toxic, he said. Only if you drink too much of it, Taiho said. He bent down and let a wave wash over his hand. But it feels nice. Varus watched in horror as the toxic water touched human skin. Taiho did not die. He did not even flinch. He just smiled. Look over there, Taiho said. Pointing in the distance, Varus saw humans in the water. They were swimming, playing. Some of them were lying on flat boards, waiting for waves to push them toward the shore. What are they doing? Varus asked. Surfing. It is a sport. You wait for a big wave and try to ride it. Why? Taiho shrugged. Because it is fun. And because the ocean is beautiful and we want to be part of it. But there are dangerous creatures in the water. Predators with sharp teeth. Sharks. Yes, they are out there somewhere. But attacks are rare. Most sharks do not want to eat humans. We taste bad. Varus could not believe what he was hearing. Humans swam in toxic water filled with predators because it was fun. And they joked about tasting bad to the predators. The tour continued. They flew to another location. This time, they landed near a mountain covered in white. Snow, Taiho called it. frozen water that fell from the sky. The air was extremely cold. Varus's suit worked hard to keep him warm. But Taiho and the other humans wore only thick clothes. No heating systems. No environmental shields. "This is a ski resort," Taiho said. "People come here to slide down the mountain on boards attached to their feet." Varus watched humans speed down the steep slopes. They moved fast. Very fast. Some of them fell and tumbled through the snow. Then they got up and did it again. "This seems dangerous," Varus said. "It is. People get hurt all the time. Broken bones mostly. Sometimes worse. Then why do they do it?" Taiho smiled. "Have you ever moved fast, Inspector? So fast that everything else disappears and you feel truly alive?" Varus had not. His species valued stillness and safety. Moving fast meant increased risk of harm. "That feeling," Taiho said. "That is why we do it." They visited more places. A forest filled with animals that could kill with a single bite. Taiho called them snakes and spiders. Humans lived near these creatures without any barriers. They visited a city built on top of fault lines. The ground had shaken here many times. Buildings had fallen. People had died. But they rebuilt. Again and again. The city was beautiful and full of life. They visited a region where fire burned across the land every dry season. Humans lived there too. They built their homes knowing that fire might take everything away. They prepared and hoped and stayed anyway. For lunch, Taiho took them to a restaurant. The building was small and full of delicious smells. A woman named Somi brought them food. "This is traditional Korean food," Taiho said. "Try the red paste. It is called gochujang." Varus scanned the red paste. His device nearly exploded with warnings. "This contains capsaicin. It is a chemical weapon. It causes pain and burning." "Yes," Taiho said. "That is why it tastes so good." He scooped some of the red paste onto his food and ate it. His face turned slightly red. Small drops of water appeared on his forehead. He was sweating. His body was reacting to the chemical weapon, and he was smiling. "You are experiencing pain," Varus said. "Why are you happy?" Taiho chewed and swallowed. "Pain is not always bad. Sometimes it wakes you up, makes you feel alive. This kind of pain, the spicy kind, releases chemicals in our brains that make us feel good afterward. You eat painful food because it makes you feel good later?" "Exactly." Varus looked at the red paste. He did not try it, but he added another note to his mental file about humans. They had turned chemical weapons into lunch. They had turned pain into pleasure. After the meal, they flew to one more location. "This one was special," Taiho said. It was the place where humans left their planet for the first time. They stood in front of a giant rocket. It was old and no longer worked, but it had been preserved as a reminder. 60 years ago, Taiho said, we put humans inside machines like this and shot them into space. The machines were basically controlled explosions. Many things could go wrong. Many things did go wrong. People died. Varus looked at the rocket. It did seem like a controlled explosion, dangerous and unstable. But we kept trying, Taiho continued. We kept building and learning and failing and trying again. And eventually, we made it. We walked on our moon. We sent robots to other planets. We built stations in orbit where humans live right now. Why? Varus asked. Your planet is dangerous enough. Why would you want it to go somewhere even more dangerous? Taiho looked up at the sky. The sun was setting and the first stars were appearing. Because the stars are beautiful, he said. And because we wanted to know what was out there. We wanted to know if we were alone. Danger never stopped us. It just made the journey more meaningful. He turned to Varus with that human smile. Every great thing humans have ever done started with someone saying, "That seems dangerous," and another person saying, "Let us try anyway." Voris understood something in that moment. Humans were not crazy. They were not ignorant. They knew exactly how dangerous their world was. They knew exactly how fragile their lives were. They chose to live fully anyway. That was not madness. That was something else. Something Voris did not have a word for. Taiho did have a word for it. He called it courage. The ship landed slowly on the green grass outside the human city. Voris watched through the window as the engines powered down. He had asked to come here himself. His supervisors thought he was crazy. Nobody wanted to visit a planet that failed every safety test. But Voris needed to see it with his own eyes. He needed to understand that the door of the ship opened, and Voris stepped outside. The first thing he noticed was the air. It was thick and warm. He could feel the oxygen entering his breathing filters. His suit beeped a warning. The air was dangerous. He already knew that. The second thing he noticed was the light. The planet's star was bright and harsh. It hurt his eyes even through his protective visor. His suit beeped again. Radiation levels were high. He already knew that too. A group of humans walked toward the ship. They moved without any protective suits. Their skin was exposed to the air and the light. They did not seem worried at all. One human walked ahead of the others. She was small, with dark hair and bright eyes. She smiled as she approached Voris. Her teeth were white and straight. She raised one hand in a greeting. "Welcome to Earth," she said. "I am Yuna. I will be your ambassador during your stay." Voris looked at her. She was wearing thin fabric that covered most of her body but provided no protection. No armor, no shields. Just cloth. "You are not wearing safety equipment," he said. Yuna looked down at her clothes and laughed. The sound was strange to Voris, light and musical. "These are my work clothes," she said. "I dressed up for you." "But the radiation," Voris said. "The toxic atmosphere." Yuna looked up at the sky and shrugged. "It is a nice day," she said. "A little sunny, but nice." Voris did not know how to respond. His suit was beeping constantly now, warning him about dozens of dangers. But this human stood in front of him like nothing was wrong. "Please," Yuna said. "Follow me. I will show you where you will be staying." She turned and walked toward the city. Voris followed her. His 3 colleagues from the ship walked behind him. They were all nervous. Their suits were beeping warnings, just like his. The city was unlike anything Voris had seen before. Buildings rose high into the dangerous sky. Vehicles moved quickly through the streets. Humans walked everywhere, going about their daily lives. Nobody was wearing protective gear. Nobody was hiding from the radiation or the toxic air. Voris saw children running and playing in an open area. They were screaming and laughing. One child fell down and scraped its knee. It cried for a moment. Then another child helped it up, and they continued playing. "Are they not afraid?" Voris asked. Yuna looked at the children and smiled. "Afraid of what?" "The dangers. This planet is full of dangers." Yuna thought about this for a moment. "I suppose it is," she said. "But they are just children. They want to play. Danger can wait." They arrived at a large building. Yuna led them inside. The temperature changed immediately. It was cooler and more comfortable. Voris felt some relief. "This is the Earth Welcome Center," Yuna said. "We built it for visitors like you. The air inside is filtered. The radiation is blocked. You can remove your suits if you want." Voris did not want to remove his suit, but one of his colleagues did. The young inspector named Kel took off his helmet and breathed the filtered air. His eyes went wide. "It smells strange," Kel said. "That is coffee," Yuna said. Would you like some? It is a drink we make from beans. It helps us wake up in the morning. She poured a dark liquid into a cup and offered it to Kel. He sniffed it carefully. His scanner beeped. This contains a chemical that affects the nervous system, Kel said. It is a stimulant. Yes, Una said. That is why we like it. Kel looked at Voris with confusion. Humans drank nervous system stimulants every morning. On purpose, they sat down in a large room with comfortable chairs. Una sat across from them. She still had that smile on her face. Voris noticed that humans smiled a lot. He wondered why. I have read your report about our planet, Una said. You gave us very bad ratings. Your planet failed every safety category, Voris said. Every single one. Yes, I saw that. It was quite impressive, actually. I did not know we were so dangerous. Voris leaned forward. You did not know? How could you not know? Your planet has volcanoes that destroy cities, earthquakes that crack the ground open, storms that flood entire regions, predators that hunt and kill, diseases that spread invisibly. How do you not know this? Una nodded slowly. We know all of these things, she said. We just do not think about them much. Why not? Because if we thought about them all the time, we would never do anything. We would just sit in our homes and wait to die. That does not sound like much fun. Voris did not understand the word fun. His translator struggled with it. The closest meaning was enjoyable activity with no practical purpose. You enjoy activities with no practical purpose? He asked. Very much, Una said. We call it living. One of Voris's colleagues, an older inspector named Tress, spoke up. We have studied your history. Your species has faced many extinction events. Ice ages, plagues, wars, asteroid impacts. How did you survive? Una thought about this. She sipped from her own cup of coffee. We adapted, she said. When the ice came, we made fire. When the plagues came, we made medicine. When the wars came, we are still working on that one. But the asteroid impacts, Tress said. How did you survive those? Luck, mostly. And also, we were too stubborn to die. Voris looked at his colleagues. They were all confused. This human was describing her species' survival as if it was nothing special. As if living on a death planet was perfectly normal. There is something else, Voris said. Something that did not make sense in the reports. Your species has very short lives. Less than 100 cycles around your star. That is almost nothing. How do you accomplish so much in such little time? Una set down her cup. Her smile faded slightly. That is a good question, she said. I think the answer is that we know our time is short, so we do not waste it. We build things. We create things. We explore. We love. We try to make every moment count. Does it not frighten you, knowing that your existence is so brief? Una looked at Voris with her bright eyes. Sometimes, she said. But fear is not always bad. Fear tells us what is important. It reminds us to be brave. Brave? Doing something even when you are afraid. That is what brave means. Voris thought about this. His species lived for thousands of cycles. They had time to be careful. Time to be safe. They avoided danger because they could. But humans did not have that luxury. Their lives were short, and their planet was deadly. So they chose to be brave, instead thought it was strange logic. But Voris was starting to understand it. One more question, he said. Why were you smiling when you met us? We came to judge your planet. We could declare it forbidden. Why were you happy to see us? Una laughed again. That musical sound. Because you came from the stars, she said. We've been looking up at the stars for thousands of years. wondering if we were alone. Today we learned we are not alone. That makes me very happy. She leaned forward with that smile on her face. Also, I wanted to see the look on your face when you realized that everything you wrote in your report was true, and we just do not care. Varus stared at her. She was making a joke. Humans made jokes about their own mortality, about their dangerous planet, about everything. He was beginning to understand something important about humans. They did not ignore danger because they were stupid. They laughed at danger because laughter was how they stayed sane. Living on Earth required a special kind of madness, and humans had perfected it. Varus sat in his small office on the observation station. The station floated quietly in the dark space between stars. His job was simple. He read reports about planets. He decided if they were safe for life. Most planets were easy to judge. Too hot, too cold. No water, no air. He marked them and moved on. But today was different. Today he had a report about a small blue planet called Earth. He opened the file and began to read. At first, he thought there was a mistake. The numbers made no sense. He checked them twice, then 3 times. They were correct. The planet had a thin layer of air around it. This air contained a gas called oxygen. Oxygen was dangerous. It made things burn. It made metal rust. It slowly destroyed everything it touched. Yet the creatures on this planet breathed it every single day. They needed it to live. Varus wrote a note. The atmosphere is toxic. Rating failed. He continued reading. The planet had large bodies of water covering most of its surface. These waters were filled with salt. Salt water was poison to most life forms in the galaxy. But the creatures of Earth drank fresh water that fell from the sky. Water fell from the sky on this planet. It just dropped down without warning. Sometimes it came with electricity that struck the ground and set things on fire. Varus wrote another note. Weather patterns are violent and unpredictable. Rating failed. The report showed him pictures of the planet's surface. He saw mountains that spit fire and melted rock. The planet called these volcanoes. They exploded without warning and buried entire cities. The ground itself moved and shook. It cracked open and swallowed buildings whole. The creatures called these earthquakes. They happened all the time. Varus felt his stomach turn. He wrote more notes. Geological activity is extreme. Ground is unstable. Rating failed. He read about the planet's relationship with its star. The star sent harmful rays toward Earth every moment of every day. These rays caused sickness. They damaged cells. They could kill. The planet had a weak shield in its atmosphere, but it was not enough. The creatures had to cover themselves with special liquids just to walk outside. Radiation exposure is constant. Rating failed. The report went on and on. The planet had seasons because it tilted on its axis. This meant that parts of the planet became extremely cold, while other parts became extremely hot. Frozen water fell from the sky in some places. In other places, the heat was so strong that water disappeared into the air. Varus could not believe what he was reading. He had reviewed thousands of planets. He had never seen anything like this. He read about the other creatures on Earth. The planet was filled with predators. Creatures with sharp teeth that hunted and killed. Creatures with poison in their bodies. Tiny invisible organisms that invaded other bodies and destroyed them from inside. The oceans had monsters so large they could swallow ships. The land had insects that drank blood and spread disease. Every part of this planet was trying to kill everything else. Varus put down the report. He needed a moment to think. How could any intelligent life survive in such a place? It was impossible. The planet should be empty. It should be a dead rock floating in space, but it was not empty. The report said that Earth had intelligent life. Billions of creatures called humans. They had cities. They had technology. They had culture and art and music. They'd been living on this death trap for thousands of years. Varus picked up the report again. He found the section about humans. He read it carefully. Humans were soft. They had no armor, no shells, no protective scales. Their skin was thin and easily damaged. They could not run very fast. They could not fly. They had no claws, no venom, no natural weapons. They were born helpless and stayed helpless for many years before they could take care of themselves. On paper, humans should not exist. They were too weak for such a dangerous world, yet they dominated the planet. They had spread to every corner of Earth. They lived on frozen mountains. They lived in burning deserts. They lived on tiny islands in the middle of the poisonous oceans. They had even left their planet and walked on their moon. Varus did not understand. He found a section of the report that contained recordings. Visual files from observation drones that had been watching Earth for many years. He opened one and watched. He saw a human city built on the side of a volcano. The mountain had erupted before. It would erupt again. Everyone knew this. But humans still lived there. They built homes and shops and schools right next to a mountain that could kill them all. And they were smiling. He opened another recording. He saw humans swimming in the ocean. The same ocean filled with monsters and poison. They were laughing and splashing water at each other. Children were playing in the waves. Another recording showed humans climbing a frozen mountain. The wind was so strong it could push them off. The cold was so severe it could kill them in minutes. But they climbed anyway. When they reached the top, they cheered and took pictures. Varus watched recording after recording. Humans walking through forests filled with predators. Humans building cities in areas where the ground shook regularly. Humans eating food that was so spicy it caused physical pain. In every recording, the humans were happy. They were not running away from danger. They were not hiding. They were living their lives as if none of the danger was real. Varus closed the files. He sat in silence for a long time. He had a job to do. He had to rate the planet. He picked up his marking tool and wrote his final assessment. Planet Earth. Safety rating. Failed. Every category failed. This planet is not suitable for intelligent life. He paused. Then he added one more line. Note: intelligent life exists on this planet anyway. Recommend further investigation. Something is very wrong here. Varus sent the report to his supervisors. Then he leaned back in his chair and looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there was a blue planet where everything was trying to kill its inhabitants. And those inhabitants were laughing about it. He needed to understand why.